What if everything you've been chasing on the outside, all of that stability, all of that success, what if you don't need any of that to feel stable on the inside? What if those things aren't the actual things that are going to make you feel at peace and feel content and feel that stability? It's not about our external circumstance to feel stable, to feel good. It's not. It's not about the environment. It's not about how much money we have. It's not about the recognition. It's not about the vacations that we're taking, whether we have that yacht or not. None of that matters for our inner stability. And that is what I'm going to talk about in today's episode. But before we dive in, don't forget to press follow or subscribe wherever you are listening to Fulfilled. This will give you access to both episodes every single week when they come out if you are new here. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's dive in. Let's talk stability. The reason I'm doing an episode on this is I met a friend this summer, this guy I met when I was solo traveling, and he shared this idea with me, this idea of having a stable mind in an unstable environment. And specifically, he was traveling for 4 months and didn't really have a plan afterwards and was kind of just taking it day by day. And hence our conversation about stable mind, unstable external situation, right? A lot of unstable and unfamiliar things come up in travel, let alone not having a stable plan to fall back on afterwards. And I absolutely loved this idea. It really got me thinking about this stability that we're all chasing. The stability that I was chasing for a long time. Like I've shared in other episodes, I went into finance and accounting after college, was dating just the finance perfect on paper guys, right? I played it safe. I took the path that I thought was supposed to make me happy, that stable 9-to-5 job where I checked the boxes, where I didn't take too many risks, where I didn't really step into my authenticity. And I had it backwards. And I think a lot of us have it backwards. We think that the stable environment, the stable external circumstance will bring us that internal stability, that internal sense of peace and enoughness and contentment. So we've been wired to chase that external stability, telling ourselves to play it safe, to stay on that stable path, thinking that one day, if we find enough stability and success in external fill in the blank, then we can feel that internal stability. But what if that's not the true stability that we want? That thing that we're really craving? What if all of that's actually not going to get us there? And I say what if to be gentle here, but I genuinely believe that it won't. It's not the case. And I've literally proved this to be true in my own life. Because again, this was exactly the thing that I was chasing and the exact situation I found myself in. I had the good job, right? It was paying me that stable paycheck. I dated the guys that were everything on paper, right? I had the nice apartment, wore the right clothes, like whatever. I found that stability. But it didn't make me happy. There was still this like inner discomfort within me, this inner not enough, this instability that I felt within in all of that external stability. To be honest, in that situation, I felt like something was always missing. I always felt like it wasn't enough. It had me questioning, like, is this what life's all about? Is this what it's all for? You know, like, is this all there is? Is this what it's meant to be? You know, like, not really excited to live every day. And that's why the distinction between the stable environment and a stable mind really hit home for me. Because what I was chasing for most of my life was the stable external circumstance. Telling myself, like what society tells us, that external stability will bring us internal peace when we get enough, right? When it's stable enough, but we never get there. And a lot of us end up chasing the external stability, the external circumstances, foregoing the actual stability that matters the most, our internal stability, our internal peace, our internal state, our inner world that actually determines our outer world. That version of me kept telling myself, like, if I make 20K more a year, then I'll finally feel like it's enough, like it's okay, right? Or, you know, if I find that perfect person, then it'll be good, then it'll be enough. Or when that podcast has the consistency and is hitting the milestones that I want it to, then life will feel stable, then life will feel smooth sailing and safe. Maybe then I'll finally feel that internal stability and that peace. But I don't even think this is dramatic to say one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life, especially recently, is if we don't feel stable within, nothing in our life externally will feel stable. If we don't feel at peace within, nothing in our life will feel peaceful. If we don't feel good about ourselves within, nothing out there will feel good. The reason none of those things in my life felt good was because I was searching in the wrong place. Instead of going within myself and working on building that innate peace within, that innate stability within, I was chasing something out there, foregoing doing any of that inner work to feel okay within myself. So therefore, I was of course projecting things not feeling enough and not feeling content, because I didn't feel content within. But zooming out beyond myself, there's a million other circumstances like this, right? A big one that comes to mind that a lot of you are familiar with is like any celebrity, right? They have the money, they have the recognition, they have that dream life. Think about how many of those celebrities struggle with their mental health, go to rehab because they have to rely on drugs for their happiness, right? Think of how many of those successful people we find out actually aren't happy. This is just evidence that it's not about our external circumstance to feel stable, to feel good. It's not. It's not about the environment. It's not about how much money we have. It's not about the recognition. It's not about the vacations that we're taking, whether we have that yacht or not. None of that matters for our inner stability. And every time that I hear this, it makes me think so deeply about what we're all chasing, about that external success and that quote stable environment, right? Because it just reminds us that when we get there to that quote stability or that quote success, we might still feel very unstable. Or beyond celebrities, right? Maybe it's your own circumstance. Maybe you're noticing like it's never enough. You know, maybe you got that raise, or maybe you found that perfect partner, or maybe you made the move, maybe you went on the trip. That thing that you thought was going to make you feel finally stable, finally enough externally, did it? Did it really bring you that inner peace, that inner sense of, I can take a deep breath now. I've made it. Did it bring you that sense of inner stability? My guess is no, because the goalpost keeps moving. And beyond that, like I just shared, it doesn't matter what the external world brings. It's never going to feel stable if we don't focus on making our inner state feel stable. Again, we all have this backwards, or a lot of us have this backwards. I had it backwards for a long time. And to be quite honest, I'm still working on wiring myself to flip the narrative, to believe wholeheartedly the truth that our inner world determines our outer world. It's not about our external environment being stable. It's about our inner environment being stable. And like I've shared in a recent episode, I've been listening to a lot of Neville Goddard recently, and he's always reminding me of this. What we feel within is what we attract. It's not the other way around. It's not about feeling good once we get the thing. It's feeling good to get the thing, to feel okay with the external. So if we put our inner stability secondary, we're never going to get there. Because there's no amount of external stability, of external success, of external things and opportunities and people that can make us feel internally stable. There's no amount that we can control out there to feel okay within ourselves. We need to prioritize feeling okay first. So then let's think on the flip side, right? Think of someone in your life who feels totally just like chill with everything. They seem like to have this inner peace, this inner sense of calm and stability, but maybe their life doesn't look that grandiose on the surface, right? Like maybe they don't have all those external things. Maybe their life isn't even stable externally, but they still radiate this kind of inner sense of peace, of stability, of calm, right? Of feeling like what they have is perfectly enough, even if it's messy, even if it seems like nothing to you. That is the epitome of what we're talking about here. They are the example that Neville was sharing, that my friend I met this summer shared, that it starts within. It's not about having external success or external stability. It's about feeling it within ourselves. And then what that does is it allows us to be in circumstances that don't feel stable, that might feel a little bit risky, that might feel super messy, and feel internally stable and feel internally okay and at peace. And that is a big way I've leaned into this narrative lately. So how have I shifted, right? Since that previous version that I was sharing earlier, what have I changed in my life? So instead of chasing the stable path, in the last couple years, especially in this last year, I've leaned into instability as much as possible externally, right? And another way of saying that is I've taken a lot of risk. I made a lot of change. I left my stable 9 to 5. I started my own business. I went on a solo trip to Asia, not having a plan, and ended up extending my trip there. Very messy, very not stable, very uncharacteristic of me. I moved from New York City to Austin, not knowing people, not knowing what it was going to be like. All of this to say, I don't have a lot of stability in my environment right now. And that is just the truth. But my main focus is on my internal stability, feeling internally at peace with who I am and what I am doing and where I am, but starting from within, not trying to make my life feel super stable and feel super safe and comfortable on the outside, but feeling okay with the messy. And honestly, in leaning into this messy in this last year and leaning into this lack of stability and stepping away from the stable path, it's helped me strengthen my inner stability. Because when you don't have external stability to cling to, you have no choice but to turn to your inner stability. It's in those situations that we tune inward and ask, how can I feel okay and at peace in this maybe scary, risky, messy, unstable external environment? So for me, it's actually been putting myself in more risky situations, stepping away from the stability that I'm forced to turn into my inner stability and say like, okay, I'm going to lean into meditation. I'm going to work on my self-talk. I'm going to push through the discomfort and continue to take steps, even though this feels scary, even though this feels uncertain. And that strengthens my inner resilience. It strengthens my ability to be in environments that might not feel externally stable and predictable and like I'm in control, but still feel okay. And this has really helped me unlearn certain narratives that were making me cling to that external stability for so long, right? So some of them that you might relate to, like once I get that thing, then I can relax. Or once I get there, then I'll feel like I've made it. Or once I'm back in that comfortable, familiar environment, then I'll feel at peace. Then I won't have any anxiety. Once my life looks a certain way, then I can let myself be happy. But again, these narratives are all untrue. And the way to really start to rewire and unlearn these things is to step away from that stability, to step outside of our comfort zones, to step into more of that uncertainty and that risk, to force ourselves to tune inward and not chase anything externally to feel okay within, but strengthen ourselves within by being in a less stable environment, by proving to ourselves that we don't need perfect stability. We don't need to stay in that comfort zone to continue to show up, to feel okay. So for me, this always means turning back into myself when life feels messy on the outside, working on my positive self-talk, practicing gratitude when I might notice lack creeping in. So if this is resonating with you, there's something within you that doesn't feel at peace with the external stability. Maybe your life feels really stable on the outside, but maybe there's something within you that doesn't feel at peace. It's because no amount of external stability, no amount of external success, no amount of things out there will make us feel stable within. And actually, ironically, like I shared, stepping away from the stability, that is how I've effectively strengthened my inner stability, taking a risk and traveling across the world, taking a risk and making the move, taking the risk and leaving my job. This can be small too, right? Going to a new restaurant, reaching out to a new friend, trying a new activity, stepping away from that control, stepping away from that familiarity to prove to yourself you are resilient, to prove to yourself that you can be in those more messy and unstable situations, the ones that aren't so predictable and seemingly so safe, and still feel okay. In fact, you might feel even better. We think we need to cling to the same, cling to the stable, cling to the safe, to what we can control. But we don't. All we need to do is do the inner work. Focus on showing up in that high frequency, that confident, best version of ourselves, regardless of what's going on around us. And that is us proving to ourselves that we can show up as our best selves. We can continue to take steps regardless of the external, regardless of how perfect and contained and stable the environment that we're in is. And quick aside, if you are in the stable path, but feeling like you want that change, feeling like you are not internally happy with that, I'm now working one-on-one with clients in a life coaching practice where I help clients do this exact thing, step away from the stability into their true potential, into what they really want, into their true alignment. So if any of that speaks to you, if you're curious about just learning more, check out my website linked below. I would love to learn more about your life and uncover what's been keeping you stuck and take steps towards the life that you deserve. Okay, let's get back to it. So again, ask yourself, what external stability are you clinging to? Are you chasing? And are you telling yourself this narrative that when you get to that stability, when you get to that level of success, then it'll feel like enough, and then you can start to work on your inner stability, or then that inner peace will come? Know that that is backwards. Start to flip the narrative. Start to tune inward and ask, how can I start to feel at peace within myself, to not feel like I need to cling to external stability? I've done plenty of episodes focusing on this, right? There's meditation, there's practicing gratitude, there's just strengthening your self-talk, there's challenging the old ways, leaning into that discomfort and reminding yourself that you can. Focus on strengthening your inner world. Focus on your inner stability to give you the strength and courage to step away from needing that external stability. And then see what comes into your life when you focus on your inner state first and less on the environment and happenings around you. Because that external safety, that external stability will never compensate for that lack of worth within. Our outside environment can never give us that peaceful soul and peaceful mind that we crave. So I got a bit deep here, but ultimately, I hope that there's something in today's episode that resonated with you. If it did, don't forget to press follow or subscribe wherever you are listening. And please leave a rating and review on the show wherever you are listening to Fulfilled. And I'll see you all again soon on your journeys to living this life fully.